What's going on, people? So, Unrivaled Series 3, that's what we're here to talk about. I have to look at this box because I honestly kind of lose track of what these things are. I just know they're wrestling figures. And this is the last one of these that I'll be doing. I'll work my way through however many stacks of AEW figures I had hanging out in my room. And I can't say for sure that it's the last one because I might possibly do one of these with the Ultimate Edition Ultimate Edition WWE figures there. Seems like it's still kind of coming together. So it looks like it's a little stuttery for some odd reason. Not sure what the deal is with that. So I'm gonna give this a second, make sure everything kind of gets situated like it's supposed to. Maybe I just refresh this. Because it does say, like according to what StreamYard is showing me here, that it looks like it might be just a little bit laggy for some odd reason, because it gives you this little chart that shows you how strong your connection is. But I am wired in, so I don't know what the deal is with that. So just give this a second. Sometimes it starts off kind of bad, which is why I usually don't jump right into anything. And now it's still not quite showing me anything. Just one thing that I don't like about like the live things. When I do these as just a straight video, like outside of that whole Yeezy situation, I generally know that everything is going to work out like it's supposed to. But when I do these, it's just a lot of hope. So we'll see. Because it still looks like it's not planned, but that could just be on my end because it does. Let me click on live. Click over here for some odd reason. But I'm going to just push on through this and see how it all plays out, hopefully, like decently. But I can't really say. It's a little unfortunate because all the other ones have gone through just fine. So it's a little weird. Let's see here. Actually, one thing I could try is just if I switch over. Give me 1 second. Switch over to this here because it could just be like the cabling that I'm using. Actually, no, now it looks like it's fine. It's just what the deal is. Yeah, this thing is just. And then I'll put some kind of link, or not link, but like a little timestamp thing on there so that people know. Don't watch the first couple minutes because it's garbage. All right, let's see. Because yeah, it is playing. It's just for whatever reason, it just doesn't want to have much quality to it. But either way, nobody watched these things anyway, so it doesn't matter. Up first, we have this right here. This is going to be Brody Lee. This is going to be figure number 1. As you see on the side, it's number 17, right? That's 17 out of the overall unmatched series. And I do also have over here to my left, this on my left here, right? This is going to be the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive from 2022. So last year they had this one. 2022 they had this one. 2023 they had Sting. So if you take this little slip cover thing off, if I can get this thing off of here, now this is what sucks is like these things are so small on here sometimes that any little thing in the way just kind of gets it stuck. So there up in the top Yuhan logo, right? Because it wasn't exclusive from there. And the numbering is the same. So they're both number 17. But like I was saying before, with like the letters that they have on the side here. So actually, these both have E, which is kind of weird. But if you look at all the boxes for this particular set, it does spell out exalted. So that's why it's coming off a little bit weird in a way. If you're thinking like, oh, why are there two letters of two of the same letter? But either way, so really first up, let's go ahead and make sure I don't open the wrong one because I don't know. I kind of like the display factor on that one right there. Where did I put that knife? There we go. And now this video thing is still going. Is it connected? Okay, looks like I'm back on there. I don't know what was going on with this thing. It just got really slow all of a sudden, and then there was like no video or anything. But according to the StreamYard, what it's looking like now is like everything's fine. I'm waiting on this YouTube thing to pop back up and see how it's going. And it looks like it's fine too. So I don't know what the deal was with that. It's just decided not to do whatever. So what are we? 8 minutes 40, 8 minutes 55. So I have to make a mental note to say that later. Like I was saying, this right here, Brody Lee, gonna open this thing up and whatnot, see what's going on with this figure, do some kind of sort of review. I did do an unboxing of these when I first got them from Ringside Collectibles, but that was mostly just opening them up and not really looking too closely at them. And sometimes you got to look a little closer at these things to really know what's going on and how these figures look and all that good stuff. Notice some of the details and all that. So that's what this is for. And I need to get these boxes out of the way so I can put them on the shelf and like reclaim the space that they've been taking up on my floor. So that's also a factor in here. But either way, so set that down there. Brody Lee, ladies and gentlemen, right there. There you go. Pop them out of this little thing. And these are the papers. I don't know if anybody out there was ever watching what was that show? Being the Elite. He used to be a regular on there, right? And there's a whole thing about him always throwing these like stacks of papers at people, right? Which sounds dumb when I say it, but it was mildly funny when it was actually happening. So, Brody Lee, one thing that I did notice is that the beard on this one is a little bit lighter than the Chase one or the limited one. That one was like seem more black. Got the TNT title, Brody on the side of those pants over there, and then what is that? It's a bunch of Roman numerals. I'm sure it translates into something because the dude was pretty good about like putting these minor details into his appearances and stuff. So there's that. And then on the back, you have Dark Order. So that's not quite focusing, but you can kind of get that. I mean, it's focused enough to show that at least. But the figure itself is actually like really nice. I mean, even though there's not a whole lot going on with him as far as his look and everything goes, scaling wise is good, you know, so he's going to tower over the other people to some extent. And he's got his little hair bun thing in the back, right? Kind of a Tony Nese sort of setup going. So all in all, this is looking actually like really nice. So very cool. And I feel like they did other figures of his, not just that one, but I can't say for sure. I mean, there was the 2-pack with him and his son. Like they did that ringside exclusive, ringside collectibles exclusive. But I feel like there was another, maybe an Unleashed, or maybe an Unrivaled, maybe an Unmatched. I don't really know. But for some reason, I'm just feeling like there was another figure of his. And it could be me just thinking that, you know, but whatever. Also, one thing on the side of the boxes with the lettering and whatnot, these do spell out Exalted if you have the whole set, meaning the chase and everything. I only have one of the chases, which you saw. The other one I think was Anna J. So, all right. And these do have some of the cards in there. If I can get that out a little bit. So they do have some of the AEW, the Jazzwares cards, but these, they say they're the upper deck ones, so I feel like they'd be similar to the ones that are, well, no, I don't think these were the upper, no, these were the metal ones. So I don't have any of the other ones out, and I don't feel like dealing with that package. But moving on, we got Stu Grayson here, which surprisingly, he moved on from there. I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, I mean, he's a pretty good wrestler, so I'm sure he knows his worth and decided to be where he's more used. But at the same time, when he left to go wherever he went, which was Impact or Ring of Honor, I can't really remember, he was used a little bit, but then he seemed like he just kind of disappeared. So I don't know. But this is a really nice figure, though, for him. So he does have, you can kind of tell he's got like the Viking face paint thing going on, right? I don't know, like it doesn't want to focus so much, but hey, whatever. And so then he's got this little weird tattered clothing thing, kind of like a war skirt of some sort, you know? Got the Dark Order colors and all that. So it's actually pretty nice. And I'm guessing it comes off if you want to, because he does have like some normal tights under there, right? So I'm not sure how this thing slips off because I don't really see where that point would be. So maybe this doesn't come off. Well, whatever. But either way, it is still pretty cool. I do like this because it's different. So if anything, I would have kept it on anyway. Otherwise, face-wise, he just kind of looks like the Viking Raiders. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got that sort of thing going on. A couple extra hands in there. But overall, nothing amazing. But this is kind of what sets it apart. So it makes it kind of cool. So stand him up over here. Move on to Evil Uno. So when these guys first came out onto the scene, right? Dark Order was only him and was only Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, I believe, if I remember correctly. And the look that they had back then was just, it was not okay, right? It was some weird, like they were all like had this white chalky face paint all over themselves, and it was just strange, you know. And they came out like on a pay-per-view, and I guess some people knew who they were. Most people probably didn't because everybody was, you know, AEW was new. So you're probably just looking at it trying to see like, oh, well, what's going to be going on here? And it was weird, but eventually it got normal. I don't remember how it all played out, but eventually they weren't so awkward anymore and you could kind of get behind it. Then unfortunately they became largely a joke, honestly, which is fine. Like it's good to like have something to laugh at or whatever. But they got so much into that way that it was like, I don't know that they'll ever be taken seriously again. And unfortunately, that's kind of where they are now. I wish there was more happening with them. This is Evil Uno, like I was saying. So he does have the weird mask thing on, almost like Golga, I think it was, from the Oddities, if you remember that. Then he's got this all this leather stuff that he's wearing, so it's kind of a strange look, but it works for him apparently, right? So yeah, let's see. But yeah, largely just given the fact that they've been there for so long and have been such a huge part of TV for the whole time they've been there, like they've never been out of the picture. I'm still surprised that they never actually had the tag titles because it just seemed like it made sense. They could have snuck them in there, just slipped them in a storyline and did whatever. It would have been pretty cool. Maybe if they could have used that, like the New Day did, where like it's a group, but they have the tag belts, so you never know who's going to defend them. They could have done that whole thing. And there's still time. I mean, the guys are still there, but for the most part. But I don't know. I'm also wondering, like, maybe that ship has sailed. But this figure, like the way they did the mask on here, looks really good. I wish it would focus a little bit just so you could see exactly what I'm talking about or whatever. But you can just kind of take my word for it, I suppose. So, and then the jacket thing that they have, it is like the softish sort of plasticky feel going on there. But yeah, they did a pretty good job on that. So lots of detail in there if you really look closely. There it is. So yeah, if you look really closely in there, you can kind of see it. It's pretty nice. So all in all, so far, like this Dark Order set might be my overall favorite set because every character in here has had a pretty good presentation, figure-wise, that is. On TV, like I said, the presentation has been not so great. It is what it is. It happens. You see the people you like and you want them to be cast in some positive light, but it doesn't always happen. That's the wrestling world. Sometimes they have their agendas and they're like, oh, we need to get this guy out there. Let's get this guy out there. And whatever you want does not matter. Okay. And now, John Silver. So I actually ran into this guy along with Alex Reynolds when I was in Charlotte a while ago. I was down there for an AEW show. I believe it was Fight for the Fallen or Fighter Fest. One of those F shows, right? So, and that was like 2021, I believe. Right? I don't know. It might have been 2022. Actually, it was 2022. Either way, so here's this, right? He kind of has this long cloak sort of thing, almost like something like Goldust used to wear. And it's actually like feels really nice, On the back, see he's got the Dark Orders and it says Silver down there, right? So I wish this thing would focus, but again, it's just kind of doing its own thing. So it's got Silver on the back, Dark Order sign on the front. It's just like pretty plain, but just actually kind of looks like something you'd see if he was in like the Judgment Day, because like they have a similar vibe in a way. On the tights there, he's got the Dark Order thing on one side, but the rest of it is just pretty much plain. So all in all, it's a pretty decent figure. I mean, if you take the jacket off, it's pretty standard, right? Pretty plain. And then if you look at the other face, that one is more like what you usually see of him. It's kind of like happy-go-lucky guy. So there's that. But yeah, this one's pretty decent. And so far, like what I'm seeing of these guys is like I was saying before, sometimes the characters themselves can be kind of plain, but they dress them up pretty decently. And that's what's going on here. So far, that's how all of these have played out. There's not a whole lot to really say about the individual, but they put him in this cool little battle kilt or some fancy mask or this long cloak thing. And now we're going to see what Anna Jay is looking like. Right now, I didn't quite look at her a whole lot before I started opening this, so I honestly don't remember what this looks like. I'll find out in a second. And and that's her fighting Britt Baker on the back there. I was trying to figure out who that was. So let's go ahead and see. Let's get this thing opened up. Because I was going to do this video this weekend, but I'll be watching AEW stuff because they're the Battle of the Belts, and I'll be there live watching it happen, which is actually my second Battle of the Belts. I went to the one last January, right? Pretty sure it was last January. Well, I might be off, but I know it was January and I know it was Charlotte. So there you go, Anna J. I'm thinking that she was the other Chase of this particular set. So let's see what we got here. I can get her to pop out of this thing. And these things are like stuck down in here, like for real. And okay, she had a mark on her face, which I don't know if you'll be able to see or not. Yeah, she had a mark on her face, and I was kind of trying to look and see is that a defect or is that just intentional? But that's actually like the makeup she has going on. So here you go. There's Anna J, right? So she doesn't come with any like fancy clothes or anything like that. She just has the stuff that's painted on her, right? So, and that's going to be like the torso build or torso bend area, right? So the top that she has on is actually like a top. It's not just painted on there. And same goes with the shorts that she has on. Kind of has like a bit of a texture painted on there, and you can't really feel it, but you do have like a little bend on their side, like same with if you were actually wearing tights, how they wouldn't be completely flat. So you got that going on. Some little tassel type things in the back. I don't know how to describe that other than that. And some beads for whatever reason down there on the knee pads. And then you have her just pretty much plain standard. And then this face over here is a little bit happier, right? So I do have the Ty Conti figure in there. So I guess I'll pair this up with her because they had some kind of thing going on for a while where she was still in the Dark Order, but she was hanging out with her too. But she wasn't in the Dark Order, and she was kind of a Jericho girl. So I don't know. It was a weird thing, but whatever. They did it. So yeah, overall not amazing, but I mean it's fine. It seems like fairly accurate, at least face wise. I think I can't really remember what the girl looks like, honestly. But overall, I can't complain too much about it. But the other ones of this set, outside of Brody Lee, they gave you some extra stuff, like clothing wise, that kind of like elevated them just a bit. And she doesn't really have that, so it kind of doesn't make her so bad or whatever. It just kind of makes you wonder, like, well, what happened with you? And her arms are weird, right? Because of the way she's gonna be like thinner, because it's just a woman figure. It's just built that way. But as you see there, like this arm piece, and like if you don't bend it right or whatever, it just kind of looks deformed. The other one doesn't quite have that going on, but it's still very weird the way they did these female arms here. So that's something to think about, I guess, if you're going to be standing these up or whatever. So I have to figure that out because it does look a little bit off. This one looks normal. This one, not quite so much. So I don't know what's going on with that, but it does affect my overall thoughts on it. So whatever. But either way, let's go ahead and get these things in order of most to least favorite, which is actually a bit more difficult than this normally is because it's usually pretty cut and dry. This time, not so much. So I honestly don't know how I'm going to call this, but I'm inclined to say I like this one the most, but it's also like fairly plain. But so I think overall with the presentation, considering all things considered, we're going to go with Evil Uno as my favorite. We'll probably put, yeah, I think we'll put the Stu Grayson next, and then we'll probably go with the Brody Lee because I mean it is overall a really nice figure, and like all things considered, like the way they stood him up, like a little taller, scaled up with the belt. John Silver, because outside of the cloak thing, he's pretty plain, right? And then last but not necessarily least, with her weird arm, would be Anna J. So yeah, it took a second, but I think that's what I'm going to settle with. Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, Brody Lee, John Silver, Anna J, in that order, best to worst. And again, like the Anna J isn't like terrible or whatever. I'm not thrilled about this weird arm situation, but I get it. It's just that her overall presentation is just a little lacking compared to some of the other ones. Maybe if they given her some kind of fancy blouse or coat or something, I don't know. But it is what it is. It's an action figure. What's it really matter? It doesn't matter much at all, honestly. So there we go. There's that. Like I said, I might sit down and do another one of these with the Ultimate Edition. I can never remember that word, the WWE Ultimate Editions, because I think that's what I'm going to put on my new shelf whenever it gets here. And so if I do that, then I'm going to need those open. So that might be the next one that I do. But if I do, it's not going to be anytime soon. But for this foreseeable future, I don't think I have any other lives that I'll be sitting down doing. So there's that. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I'm glad to see this thing finally settled out. I don't know what was going on earlier on in the stream or whatever, but whatever. It happens. Sometimes these things just kind of take their own route, and I just sit here and deal with it. Whatever. Later, people. Let me find that end button so I can move on about my evening. And there we go.